I don't have a table. Today we are doing a simple unboxing. What is in said box? I don't know. Let's find out. Now the first thing we got in this box, a power cable. Power. You can use it to power your thing. One goes in that end. One goes in the plug end. See, Americans. This is what EU plugs look like. Proper plugs. Next up in the box we have AV cables. Pretty cool. You get a red one, you get a yellow one, and you get a white one. Good for plugging into your TV if you're living in 2005. And now probably the main reason people want to know what was in this box. We got an OG Xbox. It is the original OG Xbox because they didn't make any of the variants. It's just a plain black one. This thing was released in 2001, November 12th, I believe. I may be wrong on that. Let me do research. I was wrong. It was November 15th. But anyway, this thing released a year after the PS2 and in the same year as the GameCube. It came second in that console race. If you're talking about console sales, only like 125 million units behind the PS2, but fairly decent run for this guy's first forte into the console market. Now, why buy an original Xbox and not just buy, say, a 360 or an Xbox One? Well, I already own an Xbox One. The problem with the Xbox One is you can only play about 30 original Xbox games. Buy a 360, at that rate, you can only play half of the Xbox library, so why not, for €50 cheaper, just buy an original Xbox. Now, this thing is actually in fairly good condition, as you can see. I did give it a little bit of a clean, of course. It's second hand, so it's going to have a bit of dust and grime, but overall I cleaned it down. A bit of scratches on the front, but nothing incredibly visible. At the back, if we spin it around, we have a Ethernet port here, a AV port here, and then over here we have a power port. And as far as I can see, there is nothing else on the back besides that. The front, of course, you got your 4 controller ports all along. You got your eject button and your power button. And when it comes to it, down to it, that's really it on the console, besides the humongous Xbox logo on the top, clearly telling you that this isn't a PlayStation. Besides that, the console is pretty plain, yet not at the same time, if you get what I'm talking about. And finally in the box, you can't have an original Xbox without a original Xbox controller. Of course, wired. Now, they didn't really bring in wireless controllers properly till the 360 would have released. This controller, of course, doesn't feel as nice as the newer controllers. Still quite comfortable. We don't have RB and LB on it, bumpers basically. Do have your triggers. Instead, the RB and LB though are replaced with the white and black button. Interesting, but definitely prefer the bumpers. Of course, you got your AX, Y, and B. First appearance of this. Big fat Xbox logo in the center. It doesn't do anything, just looks cool. Sticks, D-pad, and then your start and select. Overall, I got this controller in fairly good condition. The D-pad doesn't work the best, but besides that, everything else is in good condition. Now, of course, you noticed on the console there wasn't any memory card slots. The memory cards instead are put here, which is a weird place to put memory card ports, but wouldn't be the first. The Dreamcast, I believe, did it first. Of course, this isn't also the first generation Xbox controller. This is the S model. The original one was the Duke, which was a lot bigger, like a significant amount bigger. I don't have a Duke, of course, to compare it to, but trust me in saying it was a big controller. Now, would I recommend buying one of these? Of course I would. It's an original Xbox. These things you can get for extremely cheap. I got mine for €50, which translates to roughly about $55, probably about £45. It's really cheap console with a huge library of games. Now, not all them games are good, but them games are also very cheap. You have things like Halo, Crimson Skies, Fusion Frenzy, the original Star Wars Battlefront, all the OG GTAs, all the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Republic Commando, all of them games on a console that is extremely cheap. Unfortunately, again, Xbox Live is no longer running. That was shut down back in 2010. So you can't play any of these games online, but you could do either System Link. Can you do System Link? I'm actually not sure if you can do System Link, but you can still play 4-player split screen multiplayer on a lot of these games. So I would recommend buying this console. Even if you own a 360 and play a lot of your Xbox games on a 360, there is going to be some games that you can't play and you're going to need this guy to play. So yes, big recommend from me. Anyway guys, that is the end of this video. Quite a short one. There's not really much to say. You only get 4 things in the box because I didn't buy any games with it. But yeah, if you did enjoy, please remember to leave a like for this guy. Subscribe, and goodbye. Mm-hmm.